Hey YouTube, welcome back. I wanted to do an episode where we check the chain tension on my chainsaw. In this episode I've got my Craftsman chainsaw that I used for cutting my firewood, and I wanted to show you how to check the proper tension for the chainsaw. Without that, the chain will either cut too tightly, it'll cause too much friction, or it will become too loose and then the chain will end up slipping off the bar. So in this episode I'm going to use my chainsaw as the prop and the demonstrator, and I'll show you what the next steps are. Alrighty, so this is where we're going to start doing the breakdown of the chainsaw. Now, what I told you I wanted to do is show you how to properly tension the chain on a chainsaw. This is my Craftsman 20-inch bar chainsaw. I got it this past December. And so I'll show you what the properly tensioned chain looks like. When you pull on the chain, you don't pull with a lot of force. You just do kind of a light pull, light tug. So this is about right. I might be able to get away with a little bit looser, but you don't want it so tight that you have to pull it in order to get it to come off the bar. You don't want to have to pull too hard, is what I'm trying to say. And you don't want, and I am going to pull this very hard here, you don't want it to where the tabs on the bottom of the chain come out very far away from the bar. Ideally, you just want them to come around just even. So that's about the right tension for the chain. Now this chainsaw has a chain lock. Right now I do not have that engaged. That is engaged by pushing this guard here forward. You'll hear it click. Okay? That click and that engaging that lock, that brake, prevents the chain from moving. That is a safety feature so that you don't cut your leg off whenever you're trying to move around from one part of a tree that you're cutting to another part. So, so for this purpose, we want obviously the saw to be off, but you want to disengage that brake. Okay, you heard that click, and that's free. And now you see that the chain rotates freely. So, what I use to fasten and unfasten these nuts is a 1/2-inch socket. Now the saw comes a flathead screwdriver, a 1/2-inch wrench to loosen these, and then this is so you can replace the spark plug. I found that this works, but it doesn't work as well as I would like it to, and it's not as comfortable as using my trusty socket and ratchet. So I'm going to put that back. So like I said, 1/2-inch socket. I'm going to take this loose. Take that loose. I'll just lay the ratchet over there for a little bit. And take that loose. You don't want to take these all the way off because you're not going to be taking the chain or the bar off fully, at least not in this process. So, now that we've got that done, I'm going to show you that screw right there. If you can see it. Looks like it's buried by some sawdust. Get that out of there. Okay, so that screw right there, if you turn it one way, it allows the bar to retract a little bit into the saw. If you turn it the other way, it extends it out, which makes the tension greater on the chain. So what I'm going to do, just for our purposes here, so I'm going to turn that, and that will loosen the chain a good considerable amount. Okay, you can see that the chain is now a lot looser than what it had been. So if you're cutting a piece of wood, that is not what you want. That means that the chain could come off the bar, and I've seen where that has caused problems. One of the tabs on the chain has bent, and it caused some problems in trying to get the chain re-railed back into the bar, and just pretty much disabled the saw for that day. So anyway, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to reapply tension. So I'm going to go ahead and screw that back. This is going to push the bar out some. Okay, and as you do this, you want to make sure that the chain slides freely. And like I said at the beginning, you don't want to have to be pulling really hard in order to get the chain to come off the bar. So I'm going to say that's a little bit too tight yet. Give it about a half a turn. I think that's about right. Maybe a little bit too loose. So I turned it back about a quarter of a turn. I think that feels pretty good. So again, take your 1/2-inch socket, and we'll start turning these down a little bit. Oh, one thing that I wanted to let you know is whenever you do turn tighten these fasteners down, you need to push up on the bar. If you don't push up on the bar, that will allow a little extra slack in the chain. So what I do is I don't know if you can see back towards the edge of the chain, the workbench, but what I do normally when I'm doing this is I tuck the handle of the chainsaw up against my side. So I've got it tucked up against my side, and then I rest my elbow right in here, and I pull up on the bar with my left hand. So I'll take this finger tight as I can. I start normally with the front fastener. And you tighten it down. If you leave it too loose, it will come off with the vibration of the saw. I've had that happen, and it's not pleasant whenever the chain comes off and you're not expecting it. It scared me. I didn't know what was going on. Thankfully, whenever the nut came off, it didn't go too far, and I was able to find it relatively easily. So that is it. It's very simple, like most things in life are. It just takes somebody showing you how it's done to make it a little easier for you. Alright, now that we've got the saw reassembled, I'm not going to start this up and run it tonight. It's a little bit late, and I don't think the neighbors would appreciate it too much. So whenever I do get it out next time, I will make sure that I run it for a couple of minutes and check it over. That's always a good thing to do with a piece of equipment that you have recently been working on, whether it's a car, a lawnmower, or a chainsaw. So with that, I'll say good night, and we'll see you next time.